Today I'll be joined by award-winning actor of Judas and the Black Messiah, Swarm, and now Transformers, Dominique Fishback. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Happy to be in New York. Happy to be home.
I love this dress and
Thank
the color.
you.
Like,
Thank you so
know,
much.
You're springing right in.
Yes.
Congratulations on all of the success. I've been a fan since the Deuce, so I've been watching you a long time. And the one thing I always think that fascinates me when I see you on screen is your range. You know, I'm like, is she 15 or is she 26? You know what I mean?
Thank you, yes.
What comes more natural to you?
I definitely have a sweet spot for teenagers. I just feel like I understand them and I respect them a lot, and I don't layer them with shortcomings or perceptions of what it means to be a teenager. I make them as wise as possible, and then I just play from there. So I really enjoy playing teenagers.
Yeah, because I mean, even watching Judas and the Black Messiah, and then watching Swarm, I'm like, is this the same person?
Thank you. That's awesome. That's the best compliment you could ever get.
Swarm was received really well. Everybody was talking about it, from people who were like on many of the different timelines I follow to dudes in the barbershop. Did you know it was going to hit like that, or?
I think Janine and I talked about like just the idea that there's a lot of serial killer projects out, and people are really talking about it. But it's time for us to see like a Black woman serial killer. We never seen that before, and
it's like the Rosa Parks of serial killing.
Hilarious. And yeah, so I think it was just exciting. Yeah, I thought she was wild enough to get people's attention. I didn't know how long they would stay for, if they would finish the series. But I knew at least they would watch the pilot. I think it was that age.
Dre wasn't wild in like a shock value kind of way. Dre was more was very, very cool with it.
You don't think it was shocking for her to just like blow Haley's brains out just right down the spot?
I mean, from who she was, it kind of, I'm not gonna say it made sense, but you know how like you know, if you think of serial killer, you think of like the scene of like Jeffrey Dahmer dancing in the club, and you're like, yo, why would anybody that fucking right frame of mind go home with him? You know what I'm saying? But when you see Dre, it's like it's like a little different. But it was beautiful though. It was very, very smooth.
Thank you.
You know, to the point where if I bumped into you at a bar and you ask me who's your favorite artist, I'll be like, yo, I'll see you later.
Hilarious.
What was your reaction to the script when you first saw it?
My first reaction to it wasn't so much the script, it was just the idea. They told me that Donald had a role for me, but they didn't know what it was about. He wouldn't say what it was about. And he just wanted me to watch this film called The Piano Teacher. It's a French film. Mm-hmm. So I watched it and I was like, that is wild. I don't know what they want from me, but I don't know if I'm that brave to do something like what this actress did in this movie. But I got in my own way and I had the meeting and they just told me the arc of where she was going. And they said they wanted me to play Marissa, who Chloe Billion's playing.
Initially, you were Marissa.
Yeah, that they wanted me for her. But when they told me the concept and everything that Dre would have to do, I was like, I want to play Dre. In my mind, after that, I told my team I want to play Dre. They said, read scripts. I read the script, still want to play Dre. And so I had to have a call with Donald. So it was more so where I knew that I was going to be able to go as an actor, especially with episode 7 and playing Tony and getting into that.
Right.
I really, really enjoy acting.
The little shape up.
I really, really enjoy acting and like transforming and disappearing into a character. And so any opportunity that I get to really figure out how I can do that, I'm excited for it. And Tony was really like, oh yeah, I get to get in there.
I think it was brave to even fight for that. I think a lot of artists, especially artists who haven't really had their break yet, they would take that kind of situation and they would just back off. What do you say to them?
I'd say do whatever helps you sleep best at night. And I know that for me, if there's something in my heart and my spirit to say, and I don't say it, I'm gonna be up all night tossing and turning. Why don't you just say it down? I don't want to beat myself up. I've been doing that a long time, and I don't want to do that anymore. So if I know what it's going to take to alleviate potentially regretting not speaking up, then I had to do it in real time.
Because when I read that, I almost couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't see another person playing Dre.
Thank you.
Is why I thought that. But I also know the industry is like the industry.
Yeah, and I mean, there would be so many different versions of an actor coming in and doing that. And Dre on the page was like different from Dre that I bought. They really told me like, the most they told me was like, oh, she's emotionally stunted. But they didn't really say, she's this, she's that, so come to set and be like that. It was like, she's emotionally stunted. And it was almost like I was sent off to like figure out, oh my God, what does that mean? And then the first day I just came up, was like, all right, this is what I got type thing. And then it was like, all right, cool. And then give me direction from there. But it was like I really had to go on my impulses and decide what she is, how she moves, how she walks, how she talks. Everything was really, they gave me the freedom to do those things.
Emotionally stunted sounds like an Aquarius.
No comment.
That's a joke.
No, but I mean.
We working on it. How does one prepare to play a serial killer?
Yeah, I think there's different ways. I think for me personally, I journal as all of my characters, but with this one, I couldn't journal as her because I didn't understand her psychology, so I had to journal as myself. And what I did was I identified every little bit of the 3 scripts that I had that made me uncomfortable, made me anxious, gave me fear, made me overthink, and I said, well, what is the truth behind it? And when I identify what the truth is, I can say, is that really a truth of mine that I can't stand behind, or something that I think is social? And if it's because of social perception, then I have to reevaluate why that matters to me.
Right.
Like, and then I had to, and then that way I can clear out any judgments that I had of Jay so that I could ultimately respect the camera, because I know the camera picks up everything. And I did not want the camera to see my, like, Dominique shift because she's uncomfortable killing her girlfriend. Like, that was the hardest scene for me. But because I had done that work of just getting rid of my own judgments of her, I felt like it was able to flow through me. And I read this book called Auditioning on Camera by Joseph Hacker. And one of the most profound things that I feel like I got from that book is he talks about how you don't have to riddle your characters with shortcomings. If your character is going to be, if your character is a thief, he's going to steal no matter how genuine or loyal you play him. If this person's a cheater, they're gonna cheat no matter how, whatever.
Right.
So you don't have to riddle them with shortcomings. And so I didn't put the same way I approached Darlene in The Deuce. I said, okay, I don't have to have her act like a sex worker, walk like one, talk like one. I could just let her exist because she is going to be that regardless.
That's what made her real, and that's
the
what made her
given
real.
circumstances. So Dre is going to be a serial killer regardless. How normal I try to play her, or I didn't focus on any of that. That was like a happenstance. Everything else was how she felt on the inside. She was very impulsive. She felt things deeply, and she showed it on her face. She had opinions about everything, and she's going through the world, and I feel like she wants to be left alone. Like, truly, in the beginning, everybody's poking. They're always poking at her, and she just, you know what I'm saying? And then she snaps, and then it's over.
That's when Dre, I think we might be past the spoiler alerts, because you didn't see it by now, and then you're wasting your fucking life. But what I'll say is that Dre lost me when she killed her girlfriend, because I'm like, I guess you tap into like relationships where like somebody does a kind gesture and it's like fucking selfish.
She lost you, but also devil's advocate. What I think was so heartbreaking about the scene, and for me, even though I knew what was going to happen, I was so present that I really felt like it didn't have to happen. Even when she said, I fucking hate Nyjah, and then it was like, she's saying all this stuff. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? You got that look on your face? You're so, like, and went in, and I feel like it was literally like almost like a emotional and mental overload, like overstimulation for Dre, because I feel like it was all her past traumas came right before her eyes. She tried to replace Marissa with this girl, but the only problem is she doesn't like Nyjah. All right, it's okay. She let her slide when she said she didn't like Nyjah, but then she just said all of this stuff that I think Dre was like, I can't trust anybody. She felt this all along. And it was like, she went in. You know what I'm saying?
No. No.
He doesn't know what I'm saying?
I don't know, because that was the hurt talking. The hurt was talking. The hurt was like, do you see me?
Do you see me? But she was also very... there's a way to say, do you see me, without saying, you got that stupid look on your face, that save me look. Are you dumb?
So if we're dating,
are you dumb?
So if we're dating, right? If we were dating and I bought you a pair of Jordans in a size 14, like, baby, I know you're gonna love me in these. Mm-hmm. It's what like buying those.
But what I say, hey, are you dumb?
I hope.
Are you dumb? Okay, that's different. That's Aquarius.
If you had like a real life Naja, not that you have like a real life Naja, but like a stand in music, I feel like mine would be like the singer Her or Stevie Wonder.
Okay. Okay.
How about you?
You know, I think I was so connected to this show and to what she does that the idea of like having anybody like Naja is just so, I've been too engulfed in Dre's world that I'm like, no, not even a little bit. I'm good off that. But also even before that, like, I hadn't seen a concert until 2018 was my first concert.
Oh wow, who was it?
It was Jay-Z.
All right,
It was 444, and I had just done Smile.
You played the video, yeah. You played Moms.
So it was exciting too. That was my first concert. But other than that, I don't know if when I was younger I didn't have the awareness to say, oh, I could see this my favorite singer live. You know what I mean? It just didn't cross my mind. So, and I don't like standing that much. And I know at concerts you have to stand.
You do.
I don't like that.
I'm kind of tall, so I can sit down.
Yeah, but you can't stand and still be able to see. Yeah. But I loved Aaliyah growing up, and I think that she was very much a target for me, and still is. Like a lot of times I'll be like, oh, I like that outfit, so Aaliyah, I do that, you know.
So now you're playing in Transformers, which is, I've saw some of the clips and some of the trailers. It looks like it's going to be like amazing. I bet being on set was probably wow. Did you have a connection to the earlier movies or the cartoons when you were coming up?
Yeah, I had a connection to the first couple ones, but specifically the first one because I was such a Disney kid and I loved Even Stevens. And so when I saw Shia transition into like a movie star, it was by way of Transformers. So I was like, okay, I got to do something like that. Got it. You know, I was like putting pieces together, but I never thought that it would actually be Transformers. And that's the cherry on top of like allowing yourself to believe and manifest, but like leaving space for God to like just continue to blow your mind.
I always wonder with Transformers, what happens when like a new model comes out? Because like, if you're like a Transformer and you're like a 1992 Volkswagen Beetle, you know, the 2023's out. So like, do they get upgrades? Are they still?
Yeah, they can transform into anything.
Is it like Pimp My Ride or?
They transform. B was a Beetle before,
right.
And he's a Camaro, and they changed. And honestly, I'm throwing out names of cars that I don't even know what I'm talking about because I don't know nothing about cars. I don't even know how to drive. But I know he's a Camaro, and I know he's a Beetle before. So yes. But that's as far as my extent.
I drive all of the time, and I don't know how to drive, so we on the same page with that. Okay. I don't like driving. I would rather just, you do what you got to do. Tell us about Elena.
Elena, she is an artifacts researcher, and she's working at a museum. And right now, she's at a crossroads in her life because she feels like her boss is always suppressing her and taking credit for her work. And I think she's just
that's real.
Yeah, right. And so she's like at a standstill, and I think she's often in her books and her imagination runs wild, but I don't know that she takes adventure at face value to actually do it in the physical world. And then she meets Noah, and she has to heed the call in her life to see if she's gonna do what she's always done or try to do something greater.
One thing I love about working with certain actors is, when you pass in your pages as a writer, and then they come back with like, okay, I see this and this and that.
You like that?
I like that.
That's
I know
good.
Some writers hate it. Like some people in the writer's room, it makes their skin crawl. But like with me, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then we can like build like a bigger conversation. And I read that you came back with like 2 pages or like more of notes on Elena.
I did.
So what did you bring to her?
I don't know, like I can't even remember everything that was written. I got it in an email, but just making sure that we knew a little bit about her background, what she cared about personally outside of the Transformers, outside of her connection to Noah or whatever it was gonna be. But yeah, just, and like, does she have a relationship with the Autobots? Just making sure that she had her own identity within the story as opposed to being somebody that is brought along because of Noah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was Stephen Cable Jr.'s idea beforehand, and so it was nice to just know that I could talk to him and say, hey, these are my thoughts. I remember it was the 19th hour of shooting something, and I just felt like I wanted to try something, and Anthony was like, well, you gotta say it. And so we sat there and everybody got in a circle and we were just talking about it, and I said, well, I feel like Elena does this. I feel like this is her moment to do X, Y, and Z. And so, yeah, and then it's not even about necessarily that everything that I say has to make it in the script or in the movie.
I like it though. I mean, I think writers and actors should have more healthy conversations. Because I know I take my words serious, but I know the actors take their words serious too.
Absolutely.
I mean, their work and how they portray these people serious too. So I think it's healthy. I know producers and lawyers, they hate that shit. But other writers really hate it too. But I think, like it.
And that's why, for me, from the jump, I always tell any creative that I'm meeting with, if it's a general or if it's a specific project, that if you like the work that I've done, just know I'm a very collaborative person. I love to talk about things. And so, and that's what's gonna make me feel comfortable and more secure. It's again, it doesn't have to be what I say, but if I have a thought about it and I wanna talk about it, it's not no, just do that because I said so.
So right now, writers are on strike, and then there's talk of actors going on strike as well. Do you think this is all healthy for the industry?
I think so, yeah. Because I think that it's changing, and it's time to look at things. As an actor, you work many hours. You don't always get paid a massive amount of money that people think you get paid. You have your lawyers, your publicists, all of the things that you have to pay for, including taxes, including all your bills. And then you go and you do press for months at a time, and you don't get paid for that. At least I don't get paid for that. I don't know if anybody else, if you do, then let me know so I can get in my contract. But and so you do the work, and then you get that lump sum of money for the time doing that. But what about everything after? And with streaming services and things like that, do you get back in? You don't get back in. There's no syndication. There's a lot of things. So I think that it's important to have the conversation and see what's changing, because actors do give a lot of their lives and times for it. And I love what I do, and I also I'm missing my best friend's wedding.
Right.
I'm missing it. I'm the godmother of her daughter, and I'm missing her wedding. That hurts. But tough. I love work. I missed my uncle's funeral. I missed my sister's birthday, 16th birthday, graduations. You miss a lot of things, and I love what I do. And so it's not to say that I wouldn't, but can the other things come in that help you feel more appreciated, that you're giving your life and your time and your heart and your energy to bring in something to life?
Absolutely. We feel the same way, so we on the same page. What's next for you?
Well, definitely more of my own writing. Like I said, I started acting in a company that in order to act, you had to write your own stuff, and writing a book of poetry right now, and I really want to do an epic romance. And so, I don't know if you're writing one after the strike, of course. If you write one, but otherwise, I'm working on my own. What's my concept for a really epic love story? So I think I've always been a romantic. And now, if anybody asks me what it is you want to do, it's a timeless rom-com, like When Harry Met Sally, or Say Anything, or something like that, or an epic romance, like a Titanic or a Notebook, or.
Well, tell everybody when they can see Transformers.
You can see Transformers: Rise of the Beast on June 9th. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a good time.